Welcome to the Explainer. So, today we're looking at a massive shift that's happening, well, literally right under our feet. For generations, the biggest flex in agriculture was how much land you had, how much manual labor you could hire, or just having incredibly massive machinery. But that equation has completely flipped. Today, the absolute greatest advantage a modern farm can have, it's not hardware, it's information.
Okay, let's dive into this. It's kind of like a classic tale of two farms. On one side, we have the traditional farmer, right? They walk out into the field at sunrise, check the soil by touching it, guess the weather by looking up at the sky, open a valve, and just hope the crops get enough water before that midday heat hits. Now, over on the other side, we have the smart farmer. Before they even step outside their front door, their smartphone has already identified exactly which spots in the field are dry, precisely what those specific crops need, and exactly when to start the irrigation. Same size farm, same exact weather. But it is a completely different future, really, because they aren't relying on instinct. They're acting on real-time data.
And relying purely on instinct naturally leads us to our first major hurdle, the invisible irrigation problem.
You see, farming intuition used to work incredibly well for skilled farmers who could just read their fields like a book when conditions were, stable. But let's face the facts here. With global temperatures rising and rainfall patterns becoming dangerously unpredictable, guesswork simply isn't cutting it anymore. Every single mistake with irrigation now costs way more than it used to, and this is the stark, everyday reality for small farmers operating on super thin margins. When you're trying to grow a successful, profitable crop, relying purely on your gut feeling in a changing climate, that's a massive gamble. The stakes have literally never been higher, and intuition alone just can't keep up.
So, let's look at what those mistakes actually look like beneath the surface. On one hand, overwatering doesn't just waste water. It literally suffocates the plant's roots. It washes vital nutrients way deep down away from the plant, causes fungal diseases to absolutely explode, and, oh yeah, drives up your electricity bills from all that unnecessary pumping. Now, on the flip side, underwatering stresses the plants out, drastically reduces the size of your fruit, and ultimately just slashes your yields. And the really terrifying part of all this, these devastating problems are almost completely invisible beneath the soil. I mean, by the time your crops actually show stress above ground, the damage underneath is already done.
But there is a brilliant fix, and it brings us to this simple sensor solution.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that the answer to our invisible problem isn't some giant million-dollar piece of futuristic machinery. It's actually centered around surprisingly simple, tiny devices placed directly right into the soil. We're talking about precision farming. This is the complete shift from reactive guessing to real-time data management. Basically, you use continuous sensors measuring moisture, temperature, and weather. And the goal here is absolutely not to replace the farmer. Far from it. It's entirely about empowering the farmer to make significantly better decisions based on hard facts.
And this brilliantly illustrates the real-world difference. Just imagine a cloudy night scenario on two identical vegetable fields right next to each other. The routine farmer on the left just goes ahead and waters every single morning out of pure habit. They end up wasting precious water without even realizing it because, well, they don't know the soil is still wet. Meanwhile, the smart farmer checks their sensors, sees that plenty of moisture remains underground from that cool night, and simply delays irrigation. They use exactly what the crop needs, down to the drop. Over days, weeks, and entire growing seasons, those tiny daily water savings compound massively. I mean, for a small family farm on tight margins, that compounded saving literally determines if a season succeeds or fails.
This naturally shifts our focus to the next major pillar: timing and automation.
Because, as it turns out, smart irrigation is not just about how much water you use, it is heavily about when you use it. Think about extreme afternoon heat for a second. If you water in the middle of the day, the evaporation rates are so wild that much of your water disappears straight into the air before the plant's roots can absorb a single drop. To combat this, we use straightforward, incredibly affordable automation. Check this out. Step 1. The soil moisture drops below your preset target level. Step 2. The system activates entirely on its own, maybe right in the middle of the night when evaporation is at its absolute lowest. Step 3. The exact moment the moisture reaches the target range, the irrigation stops. That is it. It completely demystifies the whole technology. You don't need a massive computer server farm to run this thing. It's a basic controller connected to drip lines designed specifically to be affordable for small, everyday farms.
And the impact of these smart controllers? It's nothing short of revolutionary. We are talking about zero wasted pumping, absolutely no forgotten valves left running all day, and zero overwatering. But honestly, the most incredible feature, these systems can pull data directly from mobile weather forecasting apps. So, if heavy rain is expected overnight, the system automatically adjusts the schedule and cancels the irrigation for you. This technology takes everyday farmers and transforms them from simply watering crops into highly intelligent, proactive water managers.
So, did the crops get enough water today? Just ask yourself, if your entire family's livelihood depended on the answer to that specific question, wouldn't you want to be completely certain? For sure. One of the biggest benefits of this accessible tech isn't even just plant health, it's the massive reduction in exhausting farmer stress. It completely removes that daily gnawing uncertainty. You no longer have to lay awake in bed at 2 in the morning wondering if the pump ran too long. The data gives you absolute control.
Let's move to and see how this builds into our next pillar, the biology reality check.
Because look, while everything we've covered so far sounds amazing, we need to be very clear. Technology is not magic. It cannot and will not automatically fix bad farming practices. If you install a moisture sensor incorrectly, it is going to give you terribly misleading readings, period. If your physical drip lines are completely clogged with dirt, your crops are going to be left bone dry, even if your fancy smartphone app says the irrigation is running perfectly. And poorly maintained filters? Well, they will permanently reduce water pressure across your entire field. Simply put, blindly relying on technology without proper, regular maintenance or a true understanding of the physical tools, that will still lead you straight to crop failure.
At the end of the day, you still have to know your soil and your plants. There are key biology variables you just cannot ignore. Like, notice how sandy soil drains incredibly fast, while clay soil holds moisture for much longer. Young plants have vastly different irrigation patterns compared to fully mature crops. And fundamentally, roots need oxygen just as much as they need water. If you drown them, they die. So the smartest, most successful farms out there do not just hand the keys over to an app. They combine this highly affordable technology with their own keen observation, their years of physical experience, and a deep, deep understanding of plant biology.
And when we perfectly combine that biological knowledge with exact data, we arrive at our final chapter. The future is precision.
You know, this accessible tech isn't just a neat trick for a single local farm down the road. It connects directly to the massive picture we are facing globally. Right now, we're looking at severe, unprecedented droughts, widespread groundwater depletion, and skyrocketing irrigation costs literally all over the world. The solution to producing more food with less water isn't about brute force anymore. It's not bigger tractors, it's not more land, it's better decisions. And this is exactly why global governments, agricultural researchers, and farming organizations are investing so heavily in these smaller, cheaper precision tools. This isn't just a passing trend. This technology is how we make sustainability actually possible for millions of small family farms. Because when every single drop is measured, waste decreases and survival increases.
So the crucial point is this. Successful farming has always at its core been about timing. Knowing exactly when to plant, exactly when to harvest, and now knowing exactly when to water down to the minute. As water quickly becomes our most precious and scarce global resource, could this precise, easily accessible data be the absolute only way we survive the coming global water crisis? It is a fascinating and really urgent question to leave you with. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep exploring, and I'll catch you next time.